Okay, ready? Okay. My name is Howard McBroom, and the name of my video is An Alternative to Hate, and the topic of my video is about mass murder and what I think needs to be done to stop it. I am going to begin by reading from the Facebook posting that I did a few months ago, and then I'm going to make some more verbal commentaries about it. An Alternative to Hate by Howard McBroom. This is the truth that must be said. Hate is not your strength and power. Hate is your disability, and it is the worst disability of all because it cuts you off from acquiring the high-level emotional skill which alone can give you a better life. And that it is important for you to know that the gun is not your answer. That is the only thing that matters. The gun is not your answer. I can tell you this right now. Successful people, any kind of successful people, do not navigate the world with this kind of hate. They do not have to. They are capable of handling the world in a far richer, more complex way with high-level emotional skills. It is this emotional set of skills that you need to acquire, not the power of a gun. If you are a pathetic loser, a twisted hero, a man who is rejected by women, the reason is not that the world is against you. The reason is that you do not have the emotional skill necessary to navigate the world the way winners and successful people do. Those skills can be acquired. They are not acquired at the local gun shop, period. You should know that it will never get easier for the loved ones and families of the victim, and that the only way they will ever be able to move forward is to work to save lives. You should also know that these shootings are destroying the hope of America and the world. It is impossible to overestimate the moral, psychological, and the spiritual impact of these shootings on the psyche of the American people. It is literally ripping apart the guts of our nation and destroying the hope and faith of the American people in the good future for themselves. It is killing the hope of the world. It is incredibly demeaning and degrading to send your children off to school knowing that at any moment they may fall victim to a mass shooting. Nobody can live like this. It does no good to have equality with men and be the first woman astronaut on Mars if you are going to be shot to death by a hate-crazed lunatic with a gun who has no other doors open to him. The freedom to be murdered in a mass murder spree is no freedom at all. People will vote their hard-won freedom away, and that is the alternative. The basic problem is that these people do not have the emotional skill to navigate the world effectively as successful, self-confident people. These skills will have to be taught to them. Let me explain how this can be done. We need an early warning system first of all. We need to educate people to recognize symptoms and to report them when they make threats and start buying an arsenal of weapons. Then we need to educate therapists on how to help these people. It does no good to send them to get help if people don't know how to help them. I believe in mentoring and role-playing. We will need to have them role-play how they attract women and show them how this is done. Most of them do not have the slightest idea how to attract women or anything else. This will take a lot of practice and right coaching and skill teaching by trained professionals who are specially trained in this area. What you need to say is, here is what you are doing wrong, here is how you can attract women and get them. Role play and practice dating follow. The same for everything else. If they have no effective emotional skills, they are going to be virtually helpless no matter how smart or knowledgeable or technically proficient they might be. The door will remain closed. The door will remain closed, and if the doors are closed, there is simply no reason for them not to pick up a gun and start shooting. Better to die free and die fighting than live a lifetime of failure and defeat and rejection. I understand that doesn't have to happen. There are better answers than hate and the power of a gun. We need to help them find it before they explode in a mass murder spree and shoot a bunch of people before killing themselves. This can be done. We need to do it. This is not just one more evil that we have to live with. This is something that will destroy us all unless we bring it under control and soon. We cannot live with this. It is incompatible with the survival of democracy and democratic value. This is the message that needs to be communicated. That was my original Facebook posting, and now I am going to amplify on that and make some more commentaries on it. What I want to say now is that this is the first presidential election ever held in which mass murder had become the new normal in our country. No other presidential election has ever been held in such an environment. Mass murder has become a new normal, and this is simply not survivable. The Bill of Rights will be voted out the window. The Bill of Rights will be voted out the window if this continues, because the most fundamental right of all is the right not to be murdered, the right not to live in fear, and we have already lost that right. And the rest will soon follow unless this is changed. Freedom of speech, religion, voting doesn't mean much if your child or your wife can be gunned down at any moment by a hostile gunman who had no other door open to him but violence and mass murder. People will vote their freedoms away to any relative who offers them any hope at all. But survival of children will be worth more than a Bill of Rights. And if you doubt this, try and imagine what the police officers in Michigan who came across the body of those 4 elderly women who were shot down in Kalamazoo, Michigan, in front of their apartment building, felt when they found those bodies of those elderly women who could have been their mothers, their grandmothers, who were killed for no other reason than sheer hate, not even for their money. That is not an America that people are going to want to live in. We are not a great country if we have to live in fear every day that we might be shot dead in a mass murder spree. That is not a great country, and a great country would not allow such a problem to develop. Democracy will die unless something is done. I am going to discuss now what I think has led up to this happening, the factor involved in bringing it about, and what I think can be done to solve the problem. The first factor that I think is involved is that the 1970s were a time of great optimism, but also mistaken optimism. In the 1970s, people thought utopia was right around the corner. They thought that everything from space travel, from space colony at the L5 position to criminal rehabilitation was right around the corner, and that these things would very soon be materialized, but it did not happen like that. The obstacle, the problem, proved to be far greater than people realized. We thought that we would have space colony at the L5 position. We thought that there would be, that mental illness would be solved, but the problem proved to be far greater than we realized. We accomplished many good things. The civil rights movement happened, the feminist revolution happened, the information revolution took place, the disability rights movement took place, the institutions were closed, and many people gained more freedom and opportunity than ever before, but these freedom and opportunity also brought great dangers with them. And our society has proved very, very ill-equipped to deal with the potential danger that came with the great promises that all the new freedom brought. One of these problems came with the increased professionalism of the working world, brought about by the information age revolution. Back in the old days, back in the 1970s and the 1980s, if you did something wrong at work, people would chew you out. They might, give you a real talking to, but they wouldn't necessarily fire you. They would simply, talk to you. They would give you a real tongue blasting. They would, really chew you out, but they wouldn't necessarily fire you. And people did not expect nearly so much of you back in the 1970s and 1980s. That is not the case today. People no longer chew you out if you don't measure up. They simply call you in and say, I'm sorry, this is not working out, you are terminated. The working world today is much more professional than it used to be, and people much more is now expected of people than was formerly true. expectations for people are now much higher, and if you can't measure up, you are going to be in real trouble. There are a lot of small little jobs that people who are on the edge, people who didn't have many emotional skills, people who have mental problems. There were a lot of little jobs that such people who were barely squeaking by, as it were, might have managed to survive in just barely. But now these jobs are gone. Irrevocably and permanently gone. Their margin of survival has been cut. And this is one of the dangers that the freedom that the 1970 and 80 brought about has resulted in. People who formerly might have been able to survive, albeit just barely, now cannot survive in the working world at all, because many of the old jobs they might have survived in are gone, and because of the increased professionalism of the working world, and the fact that so much more is now expected of people in the working world. The standards are higher. Another reason is the great degree of hidden cruelty and violence in our society. Back in the 1970s and 1980s, when the feminist and information age revolution and the civil rights revolutions came about, we did not fully realize that there was so much hidden cruelty and violence in our society. We did not know how prevalent things like wife beating and child abuse are, and how serious their effects are on the people who experience them. What this kind of abuse does is to cut people off from the high-level emotional skill which you need to navigate the world effectively. These skills were always necessary, and now they are absolutely imperative. You have to be able to navigate the world effectively emotionally. And if you do not have those skills, you simply cannot do it. And this high level of cruelty and violence in our society means that there will be a large pool of people who cannot handle society very effectively, and who now cannot survive in the working world very well because of the increased professionalism and higher standard of the working world. Another reason is our inadequate neuroscience and mental health and psychiatric treatment. Again, back in the 1970s, we thought that better mental treatment was right around the corner, but it wasn't. The new brain scan did not come along until the 1990s, and it was not until the 1990s that we began to realize just how vast the problem is and how difficult it was going to be to solve. Mental illness has proved to be a much more difficult problem to handle than we thought it was, and much more prevalent as well. We thought we would have effective treatment, and we did not. So we closed the institutions and put all these people out on the streets, but we did not put anything else in its place to replace it. And the result is now we have a large number of people out on the street who basically had no future, who had no skill, who are unable to survive, and they had no future other than despair, suicide, the power of the gun. And the latter are the ones who are going to carry out our mass murder sprees. Most mentally ill people do not carry out mass murder sprees. They do not become violent, but enough will to help make it our new normal. And this is yet another of the factors which have contributed to our present situation. Another factor is entertainment industry violence. The entertainment industry believes that the entertainment industry violence does not directly cause violence, and in that they are correct. But what they do not realize are two things. Number one, that while it may not cause violence, it does validate it. It does emotionally resentize it. Emotionally, not legally. The laws against violence are still in force, but entertainment industry violence does resentize it on the emotional level. And the second thing that the people who make violent films do not realize is that